So yeah, what was telling you? Okay, yeah. So that was the first question I asked when we have the second call for the trust and reputation circle. That was mostly about the experience build up, a mixture of circle build up with experience build up, because I couldn't be on the first call. So yeah, the idea is to jump into in this Google Doc document, and we can start sharing what is our definition of trust, right? Of course, I will start since I'm hosting the space. So trust for me, and I shared it, and as I said during this call, it is about the relationship we have with others. It is a mixture of we consider facts to create a perspective of what if this person or this entity could be trustful enough or not, and based on that we set some expectations, right? So that's like my definition of trust. I can take data information, so I can have an idea, which is the perspective, if this person or this entity is really trustful enough, contrasting with what I know, because I need knowledge for doing that exercise, right? So that's my definition of trust. What I believe is correct. I don't know who else wants to share.
Let me jump in. I will try to be brief here. For me, trust is more like a foundational element for building quality connections among people. It's what allows the cohesion within a community and an effective transfer of value among them. It's more like a value enabling generator. That's my definition. Who jumps in?
I can copy everything you said and just say there is also the relation to self. I mean, the way how I trust myself is strongly influencing how I can trust others. And a deep trust in self basically allows people to be trustful with people who others would not trust.
I can briefly share a couple of perspectives from my side. Maybe not going too much into what like trust is, because I find it a little bit hard to try to define it. But I would say that I associate trust with being okay and feeling like safe with being open, and kind of like letting your somehow like your guard down on a couple of in maybe like a specific point, or like or in general. And yeah, and I think it's like recognizing the risk of being vulnerable, and knowing that from the information and possibly like experiences that you have with another person or like group, organization, anything, it's okay. Like it's within this small vulnerability that you may have, is within what you feel comfortable with. So I'd say like it's kind of like somehow like being comfortable with being vulnerable. And yes, that's it from my side.
I like that about vulnerability, and I just wanted to add on to that to me trust appears and is built when you know you won't be judged. That's the core definition for me, because how else can I trust you with my decisions, with my ideas, if I know that I can face judgment and be evaluated for what I'm saying? So to me, trust is impossible without absence of judgment.
Trust is impossible without the absence of judgment. I'm just trying to understand that, Veronica. You're saying that trust is only possible with the presence of judgment? Is that what you mean?
With absence of judgment. If there is no judgment, trust is possible to me. If there is judgment, trust is not.
Okay, this is new to me. I'm just trying to
Yeah, no, of course.
understand it and to yeah, see how I'm feeling, because if I can share my perspective on that, I mean, I agree that judgment can be something that can limit ourselves, our capabilities to trust. Actually, if I feel judged, I see how that can undermine my capability of trust. But depending of the trust that I have actually in myself, like Rainer mentioned before, I might still be capable of trusting, even if there is judgment in place. I'm not sure if I'm convinced about what I'm saying, actually, to be honest. But I'm quite keen in exploring this further, because this is the first time that I see these two concepts intertwined so far. So I will love to go deep there.
Well, yeah, just like not to go in too many details, but still to clarify what I was saying here is I just wouldn't call this self-trust as you defined it. I wouldn't call it self-trust. I would probably call it self-confidence, or believing in what I'm saying is right.
Mhm.
To me, trust is always something relating to another person. That is maybe why it gets confusing, because to me, trust is about engagement. And I don't even operate with the idea of self-trust, because I identify it with different words for myself. Yeah.
You call it confidence.
Self-confidence, or believing in what you say and feel is true.
Convictions.
Yeah. Something like this.
That's interesting. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah, I need to digest that for to be honest.
Yeah, there are thin lines there across the definition of trust that collide with other ideas that probably are not like sort of related or are very related. And
Yeah. I hear something like unconditional, Veronica, in what you are saying. Like unconditional love is very close to your concept of trust. Like you accept others the way they are, or you want to be accepted exactly the way you are, and then there is trust, obviously. And I wonder whether we can have trust even if the conditions are not as high.
That's a good point. I believe we are daring to dig in the philosophic debate here. But of course, trust is something very precious and fragile. That is why if the conditions are not as good, it's hard, if not impossible, to trust. But I guess that's why we're all different. That's why it somehow works, because some people still dare to trust even in imperfect conditions.
And what are those perfect conditions? Because this question is really interesting. What are the conditions to trust to someone, or even to an entity, like, for example, a bank, let's say, or
Yeah.
your therapist? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's honesty in the first place. But then again, if we dig deeper, what makes people be honest and starting to lie or exaggerate? It's the fear of being judged by others. That's why I'm saying that it's a core enemy of trust. Because if you know you're being judged or you might get judged, you start somewhat lying or even lying a lot. And when lie happens and unfaithfulness happens and like stuff like this, I think trust is very on a shaky ground here, and it's easy to lose trust. What do you
Yeah, I'm biased a little bit when we talk about what does it requires to have trust about people. Because for me, trust is mainly a thing about character and competence, right? Character probably more understood of what are those soft skills of that people, like honesty, like how fair that person is to us, how transparent he is, and so on. And also competence in terms of hard skills. What are the capabilities of these people? What are those past records of our interaction, or maybe of the interaction that I see in these people with other people that actually make me trust on him. And this is not my own idea. This is a concept that I brought from a book that is called The Speed of Trust, where actually these requirements are very much like disclosed in Matrix and stuff.
Interesting. One thing that I was like starting to think now, like starting with the point that Veronica was bringing about judgment, and then I kind of like formulated inside myself that then judgment could be something that is somehow corrosive to trust. And then, yeah, it just made me think like, what are the other concepts? What are the other elements that can either like be corrosive to trust and like degenerate trust, or what are the elements that can like, kind of make it stronger, like, make it grow basically, and how we can kind of identify this one.
But I want to challenge something here about this judgment thing, because if we go for understanding what are the capabilities of someone, I don't know, I'm hiring a graphic designer, right? I do need to judge his designing capabilities in order to trust him, right? I like, for me, avoiding this judgment part, it's like really naive in terms of establishing trust. So I'm curious about your thoughts here, Veronica.
The thoughts on if we can ever avoid the judgment?
I mean, I understand how you say that if you feel judged, you cannot trust.
Right.
But I'm talking more about judging in order to trust. You see how the difference in
Yeah.
flows are here.
I want to provide an example here about
Yeah.
an old me. I used to feel very judged in the past, but I think it was because because of the ego, you know, because I wanted to prove not only myself but others that I was enough for X thing. So feeling judged was something that avoided me to share my thoughts sometimes and share my own self. But then I realized that that wasn't me. That wasn't like that I was creating a feeling, a negative feeling of something that I could take advantage of. I mean, as God is telling us, having the opportunity to judge something, provide us certain feedback to enhance, improve not only ourselves but also the job we're working on. Right? If I'm a designer and I'm providing you a design, I mean, the idea, and speak about designers. I mean, you have to be connected, and sometimes people expect to, you know, to be in your mind. Designers need to read almost like a mind to provide a good design, especially those that are more focused on the illustration part, because it's a really more creative section or area of designers. So yeah, I think judgment can, of course, could be a barrier, but it is more like a personal barrier. It is not like a key element to prevent you to trust or not, because as God said, and I agree with him, it is a matter of confidence. If I'm confident enough on my capabilities or in what my character is, and I have also facts that consolidate those two things, maybe there's just like a moment where you say, okay, this is what I have, this is what I am. It is not take it or no, I'm not going to say that, but it is what I am and what I have. So if there is a way of improve it a bit, nice. If it's not, okay, I can keep building myself through time or something. I don't know. That's why I wanted to share that, because I resonate with that idea about judgment, because I used to be like that, like a very worry about other people's thoughts about myself or about my job, right?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think I can elaborate on what I was thinking a little bit. And it's important here that I am coming from a diversity circle, and that's what I do in my academic and professional life. And important thing here is to understand and accept that not everybody has a courage. Not everybody has confidence. And maybe by relying this obligation on a person, we are taking this obligation of us, and we're taking off this responsibility. Is like, yes, I am being judgy, but it's not me problem, it's you problem that you are not speaking up. But how about we make, again, environment more inclusive for everybody, and for people who've been hurt before, who've been discriminated against before, for people who have been speaking out and have not been basically heard, and they be, why would I speak up again? How about we make the trustful and accepting environment with no judgment for them, to increase the chances of them speaking up and sharing their ideas. That's, I think, is also an important point to touch on.
Yeah, I deeply think that, especially in the context of regeneration, we should look more for establishing what are those frameworks that can actually enable these people that don't feel empowered or don't feel the courage to make a step forward and speak up, to do it. Because regeneration is about integration, it's about summing, it's about allowing everyone to be present, right? And sometimes, especially in this environments of inclusivity, this new agenda, well, agenda is probably not the right word, but yeah, there is a new movement, let's say, about gender diversification and a lot of new constructs, a lot of new beliefs that, in my view, it's like very really fair to provide a space of people to identify themselves as they want, but only if there is actually an intention for integration, right? Because many times I see that the intention is the opposite of integration, is more division, is more victimization. And especially when they say, no, but I don't feel encouraged, I don't feel empowered. Well, but where is that responsibility of where is that self-responsibility for feeling that empowerment and encouraged to integrate, right? How are we actually creating these trust links for integrating what is diversified? No, I think it's a really important matter there. And yeah, judgment is probably something that we really need to take a special care about it when establishing trust, because it's a weapon of double edge in how I'm seeing it here. That if I feel judged, maybe I will have barriers to trust. But also, if I don't judge, there is a missing ingredient for me to trust other people, especially if I'm looking for some kind of hard skill. Because if I need to rely on you, because trust is also about giving the possibility to rely on each other, I really need to care about my safety in the relationship that we are building. So judgment is an important component of it, as the way that I see.
And I think like
evaluation rather than judgment, because from what you're saying, it sounds more like evaluation.
Yeah, maybe that's a better wording. Yes.
Ah. Yeah, sorry, Luis, you were saying.
Yes,
Evaluate rather than judge. I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
I'm kind of like wondering if there are some different that I think like very yeah, I'm wondering if there are like different kinds of trust and maybe even like different concepts that would be somehow like separate from trust that we're talking about. And a couple of points that I've been thinking is if there's a difference between trust that is given in advance of something. So basically, you take, for instance, I think that's a lot related to the points that that Gus is bringing. So, for instance, character and competence. So you character competence, or for instance, some points that Macy brought before about like reputation and these kind of things. So trust in this like sense, how it can be given in advance, maybe like for a specific point. So I trust to be like to do this marketing thing, or to be like the marketing person of this project, for instance, or this kind of things. And then on the other hand, like what is the trust that comes, the emergent kind of trust, the trust that comes retroactively, maybe without any kind of a special intention. You have an experience with a person, you have an experience with an organization, and then with these experiences, slowly you build up trust that it may not be associated with a specific like task or intention, but yeah, it's just something that was built up by the experience that you had, and this kind of this kind of stuff. So just wondering if there are different kinds of trust, and yeah, how this could be like related somehow.
I think
Sorry.
sorry, go for it.
Well, I think the level of trust, because that's another good question, like how can we measure trust? If there's a way, but that measurement is in the eye of who looks. because I could set like a specific features or skills, or hard or soft, that I consider that those are appropriate to measure my level of trust based on X and Y things. And I can contrast with them the universe of people or entities I know, and I say, okay, well, this is very trustful because of this, or this is less trustful because of that. but I think like the key feature that could be there present, no matter which set of features you can consider, is knowledge. Having or your personal, I mean, the knowledge you have because the things you have learned, or the collective knowledge you may know about X thing. So you can take that knowledge among other things or areas or pieces of information, and then you can, of course, build your own perspective and your own concept of trust for that person or for that entity. That's what I think. I'm not an expert. Jordan, do you want to say something?
Sure.
Before that, I'm not sure if I understood well what you mean by knowledge, Inés. If you can rephrase
Oh,
that.
yeah, knowledge. I mean, when I say knowledge, I mean data, facts, pieces of information that can provide you enough, enough information so you can evaluate if that person is trustful enough or that entity is trustful enough. It is like when you buy medicine, you can, for example, if you try to search about the effects of X medicine, you're going to rely on the more information you can have about the effects of that medicine could let you know if, well, I should not take it or I should try it.
Yeah, no, I think I
That's the
understood now.
example.
So you're saying that we should trust in base of what we know and not in what we believe.
Yes, but as I said, there's a fine line there because, of course, there's something called common sense and the God's sense, which is true, and I believe in it. I have a
Because
couple of stories about
I
that too.
mean, many times I have trust people without knowing them, but just by belief that these people can be trustworthy. Many times I have a wonderful experience, and many times I have like the worst of my experience with people in my life. But other times, like I trust in base of what we know, and the difference is not that big, to be honest. I have had both outcomes in my life, so it's kind of about knowing. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think in the end it is a combination. Where, as I said, there are a couple of things you can add to the formula, but you need at least some knowledge of to take the decision, because only if you are probably too young, or as you say, too naive, you're not going to evaluate things based on that. You are going to just jump in and take that as a blank check, right? As when you started to have friends when you were in kindergarten. It's like, hey, I'm X person. Be friend. Be my friend. Let's be friends, and that's all, right? Over
I
time,
think
we complicate relationships. Of course. Jordan, go ahead to wrap
yeah, I
up.
mean, I guess in the last 30 seconds,
Yeah.
sorry to participate a bit late. I think one of the main important things is also not only reputation, but also what we call like aspiration economy. If you look at fashion, if you look at K-pop idols, influencers, or even people from Gitcoin or co-founders, we respect them, we aspire to their ideas, we kind of their ideas or what this we aspire to be similar to them. And I think that that's a very important metric. Like even if you don't know someone, you can trust them because they're followed by people that you either respect or aspire to be. So trust is complicated. That's why I would tie in reputation. And I think that that's like the main components: reputation, creativity. These things are what we respect, and thus we can trust.
Thanks. Yes, I call that collective knowledge. Like you
I
heard
mean,
somewhere
it's not for me. It's not
or no?
knowledge.
Okay.
It's
What's
not just
for you?
knowledge. Like because I'm looking more at the bigger picture. Like I think when we talk about like collective intelligence, collective knowledge, that's from the region perspective, which obviously in the context of Unconference is crucial. But I think if you're looking at trust on the larger scale, you can't just say collective knowledge, because people that love musicians or that respect fashion idols, etc., it's not because of knowledge. They don't know these people exactly. There's something about them, their values that they aspire to, and thus they might respect, or they might buy the product, or they might connect with them, etc. And it's not because of knowledge, at least according to the way I see things.
If you can frame it in the 2-3 words, how can you help us to
you
put
could
it
just
here
put
in the related concept?
aspiration economy, I guess. Reputation and aspiration economy would be like two simple
economy and aspiration economy, huh?
I guess we can just add the reputation word, because I don't think I saw it on the
Reputation
page,
word,
but I
yes.
think everyone has been talking about it so.
Yeah. We didn't have enough time to jump to the connection between trust and reputation, which was idea, but we had a very interesting discussion about judgment, evaluation, space to feel safe, to share and trust each other. So we just couldn't jumping in the concept of trust, of reputation. But yeah, I don't know if you want to take the 5 minutes break.